So I'm so pleased to have my Catholic friend Nathaniel back on the show. He's always sacrificing to be on the show, so I really appreciate it's 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. his time, and he's super busy doing all sorts of farming stuff, moving houses and whatever insane. So we really appreciate it. Really nice of you, and always respectful and very kind and thoughtful. So thank you for being here, Nathaniel.
Do you think I should show you my bruise? Be a little immodest, but
Yeah,
that
go
pig
on.
hit me hard.
The pig
Anyway,
is so funny. Like people who don't know any, I mean, I don't know that much. I don't know anything about pigs, right? But like, it's just funny to hear that a pig would try to take a chunk out of you and attack you. That's
yeah, and
not what you think
I
of.
couldn't shoot her, because she's
You just,
somebody bought her, so I was
yeah.
pretty mad at her. I called a friend of mine who like deals with pet pigs. People keep pet pigs in their houses, and
Yeah.
which makes sense to me because they're a lot like dogs.
Oh,
But anyways, we don't have
interesting.
to
All
talk
these,
about pigs that much.
we've got to bring that in. We were talking about bringing
Schizophrenia.
that in another topic on World War III and self-sustaining, sustainable lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. So that would be an interesting one. But today we're talking about, do Christians and Muslims have the same God? Um, Actually, there was a verse of the Quran that encouraged me to pick up this topic and do this whole series that I started with E. Michael Jones, this whole let's get united. And the verse of the Quran, maybe I should put it on. I'll talk about it in a second, but it goes something like, say, O people of the book, come to a word equal between us, that we worship none but Allah. That is the ancient name for one God. But we would talk about
Yeah, I've
like
actually got it up
all
here
of
in
this.
front of me.
Cool. Yeah, I can see you in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, but before that, because people, I like to start with a video that sometimes visuals help people to show the sort of shared belief system that we did have originally, I would say, as Christians and Muslims. Just with this video from Northern England of British ladies. They don't look like British ladies because that's not how British ladies look nowadays. Let's just play the video and then we'll talk a bit more.
What's fascinating is the girls' hair is all covered, so women do not show long hair. So you see the girls, the shawls are completely covering them, and you don't see their hair at all, you just see their faces. There's all this debate now about the hijab and about women covering their hair, and we forget that. We've lost that as part of our culture. Like 100 years ago, you wouldn't walk out in the streets of Lancashire with your hair down.
So she's using a bit of Islamic terminology. Hijab is a word for head covering or hair covering or veil. So I don't know if you've seen Muslim women, but or even pictures of Jesus' mother Mary. She wouldn't look too different to these women. What are your first reactions to this video? Did you know that, or does it surprise you? And you can bring in the fact that I think you encouraged your wife to wear a headscarf as well. So it's interesting for a lot of Christians, Catholics, because there's so much that people don't know about this topic.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, we just had a conversation with that woman that was helping us with the pigs, and we she's been helping us with our children and stuff like that. So she really we've grown close in the last couple of weeks under fire, and she sat down and was like, "So I want to ask you a question. What's going on with the head coverings? And so we had a good opportunity to kind of preach all about it. I guess my first question is like what is the religious significance from an Islamic point of view of the head covering? Because I know from a Catholic point of view, it's actually biblical, and it's one of the things that Catholics could gain from learning the Bible better. Protestants, when they get into head covering, it's usually because of the idea of sola scriptura, which I don't believe in, but I believe in scriptura. And St. Paul says that, you know, a woman should cover her head and to pray and because of the vanity of it. In fact, the whole idea of long hair is kind of a natural thing that God gives to women to show that they should cover. You know, and it's actually kind of a Roman, if you were to go historically, it's kind of a very interesting Roman and Greek style with hair and how you shave and all these kinds of things, where the idea of civilization is men would expose themselves and for sincerity so that you could recognize them. Obviously, you know, Jesus in the Middle East and there's a whole nother side, even like Eastern Christians, where you do wear a beard, and that's a signifier of the authority and the wisdom of a man. But it covers up his face, and there's another tradition, and that's the thing. So there's all that, but then with women wearing long hair, that's always been true consistently. And one of the signs of barbarian culture was that men would wear long hair in barbaric cultures, and women would.
When you say generally, I mean, you're asking what's the Muslim significance?
Is there a religious significance? Like, is the word
definitely
hijab,
the Quran says for women to take their head covering and draw it over their breasts. So basically, just like these women are doing. So covering their apparent beauty. So there's unapparent beauty, like you can't completely cover it. You can't, you know, there's the hips show through the clothes and stuff like that. But just generally loose clothing for men as well. It's basically the thing you were bringing about barbarians. What do barbarians, if you imagine a caveman, they wear less clothes, but
they're naked.
Yeah, cultured, respectable people wear more clothes. But now that idea has disappeared, where people wearing next to no clothes or going in their underwear and calling it a bra and bikini on the beach, you know?
Yeah.
So we've gone back to barbaric days, and people are surprised that people are confused about what is a man, what is a woman. Pedophilia is rising rapidly, especially in America. So if you let go of some civil behavior, the rest of it will fall apart. And you're talking about beards, like Jesus probably had a big beard, as Jews did.
Yeah, he did.
Muslims have beards. Muslims usually cover their hair. I should maybe cover my hair for like the show to be extra respectful, you know. And Jews do. Christians, I'm sure, would have, because they would have followed Jesus's ways in the past, you know. So
yeah, monks and whatnot. Yeah, I don't. As far as men covering their head, it's part of it. I just I don't actually know all the details of it.
Yeah.
Historical perspective.
Yeah. So I would say the short answer is about what is the Muslim significance is to bring the whole point of all religions is to raise the level of human beings to from a barbaric state to a moral state to a high spiritual state.
That's
right. And so it's the same. It's the same in so many religions. It's not just Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Even Hinduism recommends covering your hair for women and stuff like that, because it's a sexual thing. Like, women value their hair a lot. If you ask a woman to shave off her hair, she would start crying, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how important it is. I mean, I've shaved, but we would be less concerned about it. Like, I've shaved.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's much more important to women.
Yeah.
And for good reason. I mean, it's you could take a lot of different perspectives on it. I like. In fact, I was talking to Sam. My whole experiences this last couple of weeks have been like centered around like this very good woman who's a neighbor of mine who handles pigs as pets, and so I'm a butcher, so I kill pigs and cut them up into pieces. But I was talking to her about the garden and how the nakedness of Adam and Eve after they've sinned, how significant that is. St. Augustine, who's kind of a strong foundation of Western Christian thought, a lot of it comes from St. Augustine. He fornicated before he converted, and he talks about it quite a bit. He had a child out of wedlock and that kind of thing. In fact, there was a whole heresy based on the fact that he shouldn't be a bishop because he had done those things, even though he repented. Well, it comes out in his writing. And so, for instance, we get a very interesting insight from Augustine where he talks about the garden where Adam and Eve sin, and then they see that they are naked and they are ashamed. That's in the Bible. Well, Augustine says what happened is Adam saw that his wife was naked, and it affected his body in an involuntary way. And that effect disturbed him so deeply that's why he then covered up, because he saw his own body rebelling against him in a way. And it was a symbol of his rebellion against God. It's like, look at this thing that's not even thinking about, the mind, the higher things, just doing whatever it wants and
being like an animal.
Exactly. And so that's what, and then his response was to cover himself up with a fig leaf. The fig leaf is a prickly thing, so he did penance. And then God's response, to help him out, he gave him a better clothing, which was the skin of an animal, but he slaughtered the animal in front of him. And so here you are, you're clothed in light, and then you sin, now you're naked. And then what God does is literally cut the skin off of an animal and show you the insides of it. It says, this is what this really looks like. So is that very appealing to you? And then covers him up with the skin, which is a whole signifier of Jesus Christ. In fact, actually, that's one of the differences, I think, between Islam and Christianity, is the fact that Jesus Christ, our Lord, is on a cross, exposed. He's naked on the cross. We cover him up for modesty's sake, but he was naked. So
wow, he was literally naked on the cross. I didn't know that.
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Cool. Okay, so let's get into the meat of the topic.
Okay, I am.
No, it's me. I introduced it through sort of a tangent, which is like we have some shared history of values and things in the past, but those are kind of eroded in the West. But so that people don't think Islam is alien through the covering the hair and everything, because that's a major thing. People.
I think what's alien is not these practices, because Islam comes from Christianity. I mean, you would even say like Jesus Christ was a prophet, before Muhammad. And Muhammad
you say from
afterwards.
the same God, but you could say in some ways there's a shared heritage.
Yeah, I mean, we could all, but all I wanted to say is I think what's alien, because so in the West with like shaving and all these kinds of things and Northern culture and that kind of stuff, the English, the French, even Jesus Christ and the Hebrews and them, they would be alien to us. So I think what's alien is not so much Islam as it is the nations of the Middle East, the Arabic nations, not just Arabic, like the Semite nations, the descendants of Shem. It's just different. And that's one of the things about Catholicism is a lot of the law that was adapted in consideration of these new alien cultures. We were alien to Jesus Christ and his people, and they brought us in, and that's why we can eat pork, for instance, is because
that's fascinating. It's fascinating.
I think it's a lot more to do with like tribalism and nationality than it is. I think that's why people don't like Islam. It's literally not because it's a religion, but because Muslims are generally brown.
I mean, that's the kind of like, even the Arabs are more white than I am. But you bring up a lot of interesting things. I would summarize what your point is. It's kind of religion. The roots of Christianity have become alien to Christians in the West because of the whole eating the pig thing, whatever. Covering your hair, whatever. Okay, so let's. This is the verse of the Quran that brought me into this whole. Let's have a let's come back to unity, especially. It wasn't just this. What happened was that, without going backwards too much, we might have not talked about this, but more and more we realize the Zionists are trying to split us up, getting us to fight each other. And I was like, wow, let's not play their game. So anyway, this verse of the Quran is a very famous verse of the Quran that says, be united, don't fight each other. And so it's saying, oh, people of the book. The book is generally understood to be the Bible, but it can be other religious scriptures, like the Vedas, for example, Hindu Vedas. And said, oh, people of the book, come to a word equal between us and you, that we worship none but Allah. So later on, we'll talk about, like, how did Jesus say God in his language, which is Aramaic? And I'll say it's Allah. It just means one God. And that we associate no partner with him. So there's only one God. And that some of us take not others for lords besides Allah, and if they turn away, say, bear witness, we have submitted to God. So the essential idea is, and people can check out this document, by the way, in the description below the video. Quran chapter 3, verse 65. Basically, find agreement with people for the sake of bringing people back to God, or submission to God, or oneness with God. How do you feel about that, first of all?
Well, the oneness of God's obviously interesting to talk about, but I was caught up on thinking about it, whether or not Jesus said Allah, because I don't know. I know it's recorded in the Bible that he said Abba for father, I think, and Eli on the cross, Eli, Sabachthani. So those are the words I know he used for God, but he might have said Allah. I don't know.
So if you go to Christian,
he didn't speak
Bibles,
English. That's
he
could have, but he didn't. Why?
A lot of people. So the thing is, in the Middle East, we know the Christians know the shared heritage a lot more. So in the Christian Bibles, they have no problem saying Allah, just like normal. That's why Michael Jones, when I bring him up, he'll be like, of course, it's not a big deal. Allah just means. So, I mean, since we're talking about it, let's bring that up quickly. I'll put it. Oops, it's asking me to sign in, but let's get rid of that. And
I think a lot of it has to do with marketing. I mean, when in America, like Christopher Columbus was. One of the reasons he explored America is because he wanted to go and convert Asia in order to attack Islam and crusade. So it's kind of like deep, and even and Christopher Columbus was, almost canonized as a saint. They just didn't come up with enough money, basically. So it's kind of the foundation in America of being this opposition to Islam.
Yeah, so it's quite easy to find references. It's true that there are the well-known descriptions like Yahweh and Eli and things like that, but there is the language that Jesus spoke was Aramaic, and if we go into I'm not sure if this is the best reference, but yeah, it's quite easy to find somewhere. I thought I did this really quickly. This is the Arabic, actually. But basically, maybe it's worth explaining. Allah can it's not really to be broken down into two words, but generally it can be described as the God, basically. Ilah means God, Al means the. But people say you're not supposed to split into two parts. And it's just Allah is just an ancient name for God. But actually, don't seem to be the proper reference. Maybe let me do a quick search. God in Aramaic. The primary Aramaic word for God is Elah, or Allah, or Elaha, which basically
so it's related to the it's related to the L.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
Pe-
sense.
people shouldn't expect things to be exactly the same. Like, for example, the original name for John the Baptist would be Yahya. John, Yah. The J's often turn to Y's. So there's not a perfect exact, but it's pretty close as you can get. And
Yeah, in Latin
Aramaic,
it's Johanna,
yeah.
Johanna,
Oh,
something like that.
Johanna. Cool. Wow. So this is sort of in between
So,
before it was totally anglicized. So that kind of thing. It's not like it's not. People don't think it's a big deal in terms of like debate. This kind of thing. It's like, okay, yeah, it is sort of thing.
yeah, it's
But
just
anyway,
etymology, just words.
yeah.
That's why I'm
Um,
more interested in the head
yeah.
covering and whether or not, because I know a lot. It's kind of like God will go by L. I was just reading um, the prophet Hosea, and the word Baal is something that God really hates and doesn't like in Hosea, but it just means Lord, my Lord, and so it's one of those things where like wives would call their husbands Baal, but Bali, but God said you won't call me that anymore. It's because of the pagan god took the name, but the name just means Lord. Lord.
Okay.
So
Is it that goat god that's been getting a lot of interest in the Epstein files?
oh
Barney.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing, yeah. Well, and so
Horrible.
history does affect words, but ultimately, I just don't think Islam. Well, I guess one question is: are you guys iconoclasts? Do you guys have images of Muhammad or
Oh yeah, we're totally
Jesus?
against that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
We,
that's a
we
bigger
don't.
deal. That's a bigger thing to talk about.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
Protestants
we
should be
could.
able to unite with you. They don't like images.
Yeah, because we think it leads to idol worship. Over history, that's always happened. So that's we're very concerned about. Like one thing leads to another
Yeah.
situation where
Well,
a picture. Yeah, yeah,
Protestants think the same thing, that
yeah,
it leads to idol worship, and
yeah.
I mean Catholics think the opposite. They think if you don't have an image to understand what you're looking at, especially for the illiterate, then eventually you will concoct your own image in your mind, and
Hmm.
that will become the idol. So
Hmm.
the image has to
Yeah.
be accurate to reality. It can't be like a fish, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Okay, cool. So that's an interesting idea. So should we even be trying to envisage God? Like anything we think of God is going to be not God, right? Whatever we
Sure.
think of, because God is more powerful, and anything, if we limit God to a thing, we're insulting God, because God is infinitely more powerful than anything we can imagine with our pea-sized brain. It's like an ant trying to. I was going to say it's like an ant trying to understand a human, but it's not, because God is so infinitely more bigger than the difference between an ant and a human. Human to God is just there's no comparison at all. So that's the problem Muslims have. Like you can love God by just talking about his attributes without trying to limit God in your imagination. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
That's the thing. Yeah.
it's certainly where you get like a lot of confusion and a lot of heresy and stuff like that is when people try to define God. Um, but at the same time, it has to be done. People have to know. Otherwise, like you
No,
see in
but
the
with a
Bible.
picture, like if you have a description, so we say God is the greatest. That's
Mhm.
not pinning God down, but it's just expressing one of God's attributes, the greatest. That's very expansive, unlimited, that kind of thing. But you put a
Yeah, but
picture of God, you're gonna have. There's a lot of problems that come from that. For example,
yeah,
okay,
if
you've
you
got God as
invent
a white man. That starts a million problems. For example, as Jesus.
if you if you okay, I was going to say greatest. will lead to a heresy. For
Oh.
instance, Augustine was a heretic too, and the heresy he went into was it was a form of Gnosticism, but pretty much everything is. But basically, believing that God uh, had a body and was not just a spirit, because he believed everything was bodies. And so, if you say God the greatest, well, in English and in many languages, great meat like große, Karl the Große, for instance, in German, it has a reference to size. It means large, and so you actually can get a heresy where basically God has this gigantic body that contains the universe, which
Yeah.
sounds ridiculous, but it's not. I mean, people,
Yeah. I mean,
philosophers,
that's more like some, what
because
was
you have
it,
to define
Greek?
what's a
No,
body. The sun is a body,
yeah.
the
Yeah, yeah.
universe,
I mean,
creation is not.
thankfully, like maybe this is, I mean, this is one of the reasons why Muslims say the Quran is Arabic first and everything else is just a mere translation. Because in Arabic, that
Languages
wouldn't
matter.
be, yeah. So in
Languages matter a
Arabic, that
lot.
wouldn't be a meaning like God has a body and it's a big size, but a limited size and all this kind of funny stuff, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
well,
yeah.
I deal with that with atheists because they're like, "Well, defend the Bible to me," and then they start quoting it to me. I'm sorry, I said I haven't read the whole thing in Latin, and it's the Latin
Mm.
Vulgate of the Bible that's inerrant. That's what's technically inerrant. It's not King
Mm.
James. It's not all these other. So, some of these things, and then all the church documents and stuff, they're in Latin, so and Greek and Greek.
Mm.
Um, so, but if
But
we want
even
to
then,
talk,
that's not the original language. What would be the original?
there's a
Hebrew or
reason.
Aramaic?
Hebrew for the Old Testament, Greek for the New Testament, the majority of it.
Greek, but not. It wasn't revealed spoken in Greek.
It
That's just the
was
oldest.
the
No,
apostles.
Jesus didn't speak in Greek.
Yeah, but we're talking about the original documents. We're not
Yeah,
talking
the
about
oldest document, not the original document, the oldest surviving document is what you mean.
much of it's Greek because the
Yeah.
apostles learned Greek at Pentecost, presumably,
Oh,
and
really?
then
Okay.
they
Okay.
wrote in Greek because that was the educated
Okay.
language. But
Mhm.
you can't trust the Hebrew because, as Saint Jerome said, once Jesus Christ came and was crucified by the Jews, the educated Jews who controlled the Hebrew language, started changing the scriptures in Hebrew, so you can't trust it. And Saint
Mm.
Jerome, who gave us the Latin Vulgate, is basically responsible for making sure that
Yeah.
we have an accurate translation. But I want to go back to the image thing. You were talking about an
Mm.
image of God. Okay. Yes, if you make an image of Jesus Christ, it's not going to be perfectly accurate. Which is why, if you want to talk about an image of God, we don't have any until the incarnation of Jesus Christ. Because what you would have to say is no man could make an accurate image of God, but God himself could. God could accurately represent himself, which is what he has done throughout all of history to humanity, either through words or images, miracles he'll perform with witnesses to show
Mm.
this is who God is. And it's very important because the first commandment is don't have any other gods. And like like Aaron did, he said, "This is your God," and showed them a golden calf. So
Mm.
the Christian argument is that Jesus Christ, before he was incarnated, was the image of God. It's God representing himself, and basically, God. If God is a mind, and God pictures himself, he's like, "I am God." He has this image of
Mm.
himself. That's the person Jesus Christ, and then added to that is humanity. So he creates his own body, his own soul, the whole human nature, and that's
Mm.
that's what happened at the
Okay, so
incarnation.
I think then that begs the question. I think, well, we have to get back to the root of the thing, which is, I understand that Jesus really believed in only one God, and he didn't consider himself as one God. That's what Muslims consider.
Yeah,
We
some Christians
see.
think that. Lots of Christians.
Okay, yeah. So there
That's not
there are
accurate.
even Unitarian Christians as well who say there's only the
Yeah,
God the
the biggest
Father, and that's it.
crisis in the church was the Arian crisis, and the Arians believed that. They believed that Jesus Christ was this incredible angel. It was like the highest And he is called an angel in some of the scripture. Angel of
Oh.
Great Counsel is one of his titles.
Wow.
Because he was
So
messenger.
I'll quickly just quickly quote like what I understand from the Bible.
But it's not
So
accurate. Jesus Christ is God.
cool. So we'll
Sorry for
talk about
saying
that. No, that's, of course, it's very important for you to kind of clarify that. So, hear, O Israel, this is the Old Testament, Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. So, this is the Old Testament, the heritage of the Christians. And then Jesus reiterates that, says Jesus answered, the most important teaching is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And yeah, so I think
He quotes it,
Jesus
yeah.
always said God is one. And there's probably more things to say that he only believed, there's evidence to say that he didn't really consider himself as a God, but he only said God is the Father only. Maybe I should go
Yeah,
more
there is
references. But
evidence.
yeah.
There is evidence.
But yeah, your perspective, go for
Well,
it.
what I want to say about this is that yeah, so obviously I believe Jesus Christ is God, and to not believe Jesus Christ is God really puts you on the outer edge of what is acceptable to Christianity. But we do want to create this Muslim Christian alliance, and so it's way better for us to be sincere and to understand these things.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, Christians generally believe Jesus Christ is God. Muslims generally believe that that is idolatry. Okay, well, both of us have to understand that we think we're right. So even in Christianity, and this is a big problem all throughout Christianity, most Christians are idolaters. So even in Christianity, if a man is practicing idolatry, that doesn't mean he's your enemy. Okay, in love, you would say he's confused, he needs instruction, we need to talk to him because we're human beings and we negotiate and we have peace, all these kinds of things is what Jesus Christ taught. So if we want to have this alliance, I think we basically need to have respect for each other and understand why a Muslim would say this is idolatry. All Christians should be able to understand that that's a very serious concern. Jesus Christ himself says, this is the first, in Deuteronomy, this is the first of all commandments, that there is one God, you have to know who this God is. And, and the reason Christians believe that Jesus is God is a very, very complex, difficult thing to grasp, that ultimately, especially like in Protestant theology, there's not this long history of defending that belief, of understanding where it comes from and all the things that have been written on it and all the fighting and all the disagreement amongst Christians about this topic. Is Jesus Christ divine? There's another history called Nestorianism, and where Christians, and a lot of Christians believe this today, where Christians believe that Jesus Christ became God at a certain point in time. So a lot of Christians believe that at his baptism, when the Holy Ghost came upon Jesus, that's when he became God. And so they separate these two things. They say there's Jesus Christ the man, there's Jesus Christ the God, and then at a time they came together, which is not accurate either. Not accurate either. So I think that I think we need to be peaceful on this topic. Does that make sense? We need to have respect for each other. The fact that Muslims are concerned about idolatry and are concerned about God being disrespected through false images is very important, because it's like you said, if you portray Jesus Christ as a white man, what are you actually portraying there, and what does it mean? The reason why Jesus Christ was portrayed as a white man in Western images is because white people are beautiful. Literally, they're beautiful. Pope Gregory the Great, he saw a captured English person, a slave in the markets, and he said, "These people are beautiful. What are they called?" They said, "Angles." "Oh, they're beautiful like angels. Look at them." And so he sent St. Augustine to go convert them, St. Augustine of Canterbury. And that's how the English became Christian. It's because literally they're beautiful. They're also
But
barbaric.
a lot of people would say black people are beautiful.
I don't think so. They can be. I mean, they can be.
This is an interesting discussion. Okay, but
White people are
I would say
attracted.
one of the concerns are the reason. Okay, there are, people might not have.
I mean, most
really
people are ugly. It's fine that people are ugly, but white people are ugly.
Okay,
It doesn't help us that much. I mean, it got us Christianity, but
yeah.
you know.
But the concern is, I'm not sure if you, you think it's a concern. I think you probably do. Is that if God was depicted as a black person, you wouldn't have the slavery where white people took black people as less than animals across the seas from Africa to the Caribbean to Americas, because they really treated them as less than human beings. They said if a few people died on the way, it didn't matter. If they went across, they didn't even, people don't know, but actually probably a lot of people do know, they didn't go like standing on the ships. They were laid down flat in their feces for I don't know how long, months or something, dying on the way.
Yeah.
And if a few didn't make it, it didn't matter to them. There'll be Christians on the boats, the slave masters, thanking God that this many survived. They didn't care that. But if you had a black God, you wouldn't have
I don't
that
know
problem.
about
So
that. I'd be interested.
you don't think if God was black, you wouldn't have?
No. I mean, the Christians thanking God about that. I mean, you probably.
Oh, I mean, that's what we were shown in.
A lot of that's
in
propaganda.
school. In school, that's how we were given, documents. That's
I know
what they
Roots
said,
was just like a fabrication. That was the big American propaganda piece about this.
Oh, okay. Who knows? But yeah.
The reason why blacks were enslaved was partly cultural, and that's a common thing that you enslave foreign cultures. That's a common thing. It wasn't done morally. It wasn't done biblically or anything like that. And that's generally religious. I mean, a lot of the slave merchants that were doing the slavery were Jewish, and the Talmud says things about non-Jews, about them being beasts, basically, and that's part of it. That's in the Bible too.
How do you feel about that? Do you think
I think, well, the thing is, I think Jesus Christ was depicted as a black man and is depicted as a black man today. My neighbor up in Tennessee had a picture of Jesus Christ as a black man and the whole Holy Family, Blessed Mother, Saint Joseph, Saint John at the cross. All these people were depicted as black people. Why? Because
is your friend black by any chance?
No, he was white.
Oh,
Seventh-day Adventist. He went to Africa to do mission work, and he came back with those images. So, and these images aren't all colored. Some of those depictions you can tell this is a black Jesus. You can tell it is because.
I mean, I believe you, because black people
structure of the face, basically.
So I believe you, because I mean, black people prefer to see Jesus as black, and white people prefer to see Jesus as white.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, no, honestly, white people generally want to see Jesus as Arabic or something like that.
Really? Okay.
I don't think that's very accurate either. Yeah, mostly it's hard to find a good image of Jesus Christ. The French have an image of him. They have a lot of white images of him, and he looks feminine, and it's terrible. And one of the most important devotions in Catholicism is the Sacred Heart, and it's almost impossible to find a depiction of the Sacred Heart with actual like Jesus's face in it. There's plenty of obviously the heart by itself, but Jesus Christ with his heart showing, where it's not a feminine looking Jesus, and that's very annoying. But that's the French.
Yeah,
and it's because they got that devotion in the 1600s. But yeah, so yeah, to
okay,
convert black people, Jesus Christ was depicted as a black man.
Sure. Okay, so I'm just trying to see because
I know
a lot
there's
of
some
what I'm trying to do.
documents. I
Yeah.
know there's some documents from the time that say that he was pale in complexion and that he had golden hair. I heard
Sure.
that from a priest. But
From,
we do
from
have
the yeah.
accurate images from him. Two relics:
Yeah.
the Shroud of Turin and the what is it? There's another one. Oh, the Veronica's veil. So Veronica wipes his face and it imprints his face. So we have two accurate images of him. Neither of them are colored per se,
Hmm.
and there's one icon called Pancrator, which means Lord of the World, of Jesus Christ, and that's the most accurate, and it's one of the most terrifying images you'd ever see. I want to show it. Can I show? Can
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
search?
Let's see if you.
It's an
Yeah.
Egyptian icon,
Yeah.
but it's my favorite one. It's very
How do we
terrifying.
spell it?
PAN
P
everything, Lord of
A
everything.
N. So is it two words?
CRATOR.
Is it
No, it's
pan
all
and
one
then?
word. Pancrator
Oh,
means
okay.
Lord of everything. Pan is everything.
What was it?
Krator.
Pan.
Yeah. But it's a little weird until you understand what's happening. But his face is divided, and he's not clearly divided either. But he's depicted on
So
one side as judging, and on the other side as blessing.
Pantocrator.
There
Yeah.
you go, Panto. Yeah, sorry. Show that image
Okay. Okay.
because
I
this is an
mean,
image. This is an image
I
everybody should see. This
I
is
mean, I'm not
accurate.
sure if I found it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just pick any of those.
Oh, so yeah, it
That's
goes
him.
to a new page, and then let me just go to the other new page that I
And
clicked
he's
on.
pale of complexion and that. His hair is not
Sure.
golden. But
Yeah.
so, and the
Yeah.
coloring's the thing that we really don't know. But that image has been measured. Zoom in on that if you can.
Okay.
Can you?
Yeah. I bet if I click on it, oh, that's good. Okay.
That image has been measured to the Shroud of Turin and to the Veronica's veil as the most accurate. Of course, Veronica's veil and he's wounded, he's beaten, and all these kinds of things. So those it's hard to do, but they've done it.
Yeah.
That's what he really looked like. That's what Jesus
Interesting.
Christ really looked
Yeah.
like. And
in Islam, there's sayings of Prophet Muhammad that he was reddish in complexion, so maybe thin-skinned.
David too.
Yeah.
It says that. Red.
Yeah. But anyway, so I want to come to some sort of unity. I think we do have a lot of unity, even though we're focusing on the Trinity area or the.
We have the unity of Jesus Christ. There's you guys.
The unity is that we both believe there is one God, but your understanding of one God is, I would say, more complex, right? Would that be fair?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Like the Trinity area, like 3-in-1 sort of thing.
Can I ask you this about Islam? So you guys understand Jesus Christ as a Messiah, as a Christ?
Yes. Yes. A
what
very
does that
important
mean?
prophet.
So like if I say Pantocrator, Lord of everything, is that accurate? Is that an accurate title in Islam for Christ?
No. He's just a prophet. A prophet is somebody who is a human being who's subservient, completely subservient to God.
That's accurate. So is he a king? Does Christ mean king?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
No, that a king would be a almost political role, isn't it? A ruler, like he's a spiritual leader. Jesus is a spiritual leader.
Yeah. Well, what about, how do you guys view, because obviously King David's a king, King Solomon's a king, he's the son of David.
Sure. So some of them are also, like even in Islam, you might be given leadership roles, but your number one role is spiritual. Yeah. But I don't think Jesus was given a political role, was he?
Well, how do you view like the way the Gospels record the events? So because the Gospels record the events, if we just look at it politically, I'm not talking about spiritual, although spiritual is obviously very important, but he's the son of King David, and he has a right to rule the land. And he shows up to the point where Herod's trying to kill him, kills a lot of people, a lot of children. And everyone's concerned about this. When the Jews crucify him,
So
they say
Jesus was the
we have
son
no
of King
king.
David. You mean like in
Yeah.
the line, in a
Yeah, he's
descendant?
yeah.
It's not
Saint Joseph
literal
too.
direct.
No,
Yeah,
he's
but
a
not
descendant.
yeah, descendant, not direct son. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
I'm sorry, I forgot
yeah,
that people don't
sure,
use
yeah,
that word the same way.
yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
descendant. So he's like the rightful king of the nation of Israel, of the land of Palestine. He is the king of it, the rightful king. If he's alive today, he would still be the king of it.
Hmm.
So
Okay. I
very
mean,
that's significant. That's politically significant.
Muslims don't see it that way because one of the things that I understand where the Jews went wrong is they wanted a literal king to become materially powerful, and the Jews have become materialists,
Right.
and
Sure.
Jesus is fighting against that,
Yeah.
and he was siding with the humble and the poor and the prostitutes and things like that.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
those are the people he was king over.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I
There's
don't
a
think
there's
he
go
wanted
ahead.
money or political power.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So we agree, I think. Yeah.
But that having been
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
he deserved money and political power. He deserved it. I mean, not accurate,
Sure.
accurate.
I
There's
mean,
nothing wrong with
like,
that.
no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, did he really want that, or does that seem his purpose when he was around? He seemed to be kicking over money in the temples. You know what I mean? Like, stop
Yeah.
being focusing on money. So you could say he deserves many. He deserved to be treated better. He didn't deserve to be on the cross, but like his aim was something else. Is what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? His aim was entirely
Well,
spiritual.
I think he so he received a lot of money when he was
Mm.
doing his ministry. You know, people gave him money, and he used it to help the poor, basically.
Mm.
That's why it says Judas stole from the money bag.
Wow.
You know what I'm talking about? So there was a money bag that the apostles had that when Jesus Christ, people would give him money. And he would teach about money continually always talking about it. And even in the prayer that he teaches, the Our Father, you know, when he says, "Give us this day our daily bread," he immediately talks about money. He says, "Forgive us our debts." You know what I mean? It has more significance back then than things have changed now.
He taught things like, what was it? The love of money is the root of all evil. Or have I got
The
that
love
wrong?
of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And he says you
Yeah.
cannot serve.
Money is not evil, but the love or obsession of it probably is the problem.
Yeah, the love of it, the pursuit of it, because love is a movement. It's a pursuit. It's a movement of the soul towards the.
It's a focus away from God, I guess.
Instead of a tool.
Yeah. So I'm trying to work out. Okay, so we clearly, obviously, disagree on
on his
the whole
divinity.
Trinity, his divinity and the Trinity thing.
But we don't. It doesn't seem like we should disagree on his. No, we could say. Because
we agree he's a great person.
In Islamic
we agree
thought,
in
Islamic thought, is Jesus Christ dead or alive?
Dead as a human being. I personally. Oh, so you know what? There's so many things I. There's. You might have noticed I don't put my name anymore. I put help for Ahmadi. Have you seen that?
I saw that.
Yeah.
I think it's growing. Your account's growing. Congratulations.
I mean, yeah, it's always growing. It's not like
I thought it was somebody else. I was like, I don't remember him having this many people.
Yeah. Wow. So the reason why it's just come to mind is because
he hasn't forgotten the little people.
yeah. Because as an Ahmadi Muslim, so what is an Ahmadi Muslim? A Muslim who believes Jesus has come back, but not physically, but spiritually, and that's actually Jesus' understanding. That's a whole discussion because he.
Yeah, I'd love to know. I don't know the difference.
So an Ahmadi Muslim
there's some Christians. I listened to a priest of the Pentecostals. It was a very brief thing, but he was a gay priest, and it was not the Catholic Church, but it was a different church. And he said that he believed that the second coming happened at Pentecost when the Holy Ghost came down, that was the second coming. And so after that, I guess
Interesting.
we live in paradise, which I know enough history, but yours is probably a little bit more.
Yeah, so you asked like
Sophisticated.
what do you think happened to Jesus? We as Ahmadi Muslims, and this is based in teachings of the Quran as well, but most other Muslims don't agree with this, is that he left the two, or maybe some people say 2.5, 3 tribes that were in Judea, which is the story of the Bible is limited
Yep.
to that.
Yeah.
And he went as he
The Jews,
promised.
the
He went to
Levites,
promise.
and the
Yeah, exactly. So
Moab.
he promised to go to all the 12 tribes, and they were spread around outside Judea. So we don't consider Jesus a liar, and he did fulfill his promise. And that there's actually a famous tomb where he died in Kashmir, northern India, or Pakistan, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I met a
Um,
man from Pakistan who believed that he was given some
yeah.
kind of like Babylonian medicine or something, and to
Yeah,
do with
yeah.
the
I
cross.
mean, that could be another discussion, I suppose. Like there were medicines applied to him in after he was taken off the cross, and it's described in the Bible. And these are well-known medicines to take to deal with the problems that he suffered from on the cross. But that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's
they
a
yeah.
ton of discussion around that. That
Well,
could be.
Mary Magdalene, when she comes to see him, she's bringing poultices.
Aloe vera. Yeah, all sorts of
Yeah,
things.
but I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know if it's
they call it
described.
aloe. I call it aloe vera, but they call it aloe. But anyway, but this same
Aloes,
sort
yeah.
of.
So
Yeah,
so and that's when she finds the tomb empty with the angels in it. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But even then, before that, there was all sorts of ointments
No,
applied
yeah, that
to
wasn't
him.
the first time they did it. They
Yeah,
did it when they
yeah,
buried him. They did it hastily, and because it was the Sabbath, and then they couldn't
yeah,
see him for a day, and then they came back to do it even more.
yeah. So more important than my name, rather than saying my name, which is just Khalid Zafir, is my purpose, which is I'm here to be helpful. I'm an
So what
Ahmadi Muslim. So
do the
Ahmadi Muslims
Sunnis and
are like
Shiites agree, or what do they think?
they say that he flew off to heaven in like a spirit, whatever form or something.
When? At what time, like relative to the crucifixion?
I think around. Oh yes, they think they have a very complicated idea because the Quran said that he wasn't killed. Jesus wasn't killed. So some people try to theorize, well, if he wasn't killed and he was put on the cross, what happened to him? We say he fainted and then was taken down and continued his mission as he promised. But they say he was switched with a criminal and when made to look like Jesus, and that person was killed, and then Jesus flew off to heaven. But even the
That'd be
idea
the
of flying
ascension,
off,
I'm sure they're talking about.
yeah, but that these kind of ideas are against the teachings of Islam, and even the Quran talks about him and his mother taking a trip to a far off land that is green with valleys
We
and things
have
like that. Yeah,
Anne Catherine Emmerich is a very famous venerable, blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich. So she's not she's so she's declared to be holy, basically, that we can venerate her as a saint, but you're not. There's a higher level where you're canonized. Anyways, point being, her visions. She had visions that were recorded by somebody else in like the in like the 1800s in Germany. She was a nun, and she talks about Jesus Christ for one of the 3 years of his ministry going east and going to the Eastern nations, the descendants of Abraham. And when the 3 wise men come from the east, almost everybody connects that to India, Persia, especially Persia, but those Eastern nations. And in fact, I disagree with that personally. I think that they came from Arabia. I think they were the other.
who came from Arabia?
The 3 wise men.
Oh, okay, the 3 wise men.
Caspar,
Okay,
uh,
right.
Caspar, Melchior, and Balthasar. I think that they came from Arabia. I follow Lapida's opinion on
Interesting.
that.
But it's interesting. Okay.
Because God promised Abraham, and Abraham had other children after Isaac and Ishmael. He had other children after that. He had another wife, more children.
Yeah. So I think, okay, to try to wrap this up,
Sorry.
quite hard. No, don't apologize, please. You're saying lots of important things that I agree with.
Thank you for
An
spending time
interesting
with me.
thing,
I
and
needed some
no,
company.
thank you. I mean, you're up at 1 o'clock now. It's 2 o'clock your time, and you're super busy. So I really appreciate that. And
You're
I,
doing me a huge favor, though. I need a break from all this garbage.
I think it's good as well. We can get trapped in the rat race, just following, chasing money and whatever. Not that we chase money, but we got to live, right? But then it's good to have a break and have
Well, we
intellectual.
chase it. We do chase
We
it. We have to. It's
we
because of the economics.
yeah,
Because we have to
that's
keep
another.
paying the lords. We have to keep. This happened in the 1500s. We switched to a money economy. We used to owe our masters labor on a field. Now we owe them money so that they can
Yeah,
pay their bills.
they
And
are
we have to pay
squeezing
our
us.
bills. We've got to pay their bills, and yeah, so we're always chasing money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We can see, yeah, money's been manipulated. So
Thankfully,
yeah.
in America, we have no real aristocracy. There's no. So
We
can,
don't really have. I mean, maybe we do in some ways. I mean,
an
we've got the same.
aristocracy
Yeah.
is a natural thing. So,
Hmm.
but in America, it's basically a plutocracy where the wealthy are the ones who end up passing their property down. But because America has set up the legal code and the tax code in such a way, it's very easy to take that power and take that wealth through legitimate means. So I plan to become that so that I can fix some of these things. I want to become a wealthy businessman because I'm tired of seeing my people abused this way. So
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
that's
And then
why
you
I'm chasing money, is to give it away
Yeah.
to people.
Very
That's my
good.
plan.
And that will actually give you strength to be more successful. Because if you do it just for yourself, then you're going to be less successful because people need meaning to be strong, and people lack that. So you've got like a higher meaning, which is really cool, which is awesome.
Thank you.
So
I am
just
awesome. I appreciate that. It's about time somebody recognized that. I was just telling my
Cool.
wife that.
I mean, we should be thankful to God for what we are, like what God has given us. So that's cool. Yeah, we can be grateful
Sometimes
for that.
I'm so sorry. I know you're trying to wrap this up.
Go
I
on.
just want to give you a picture into my married life.
Yeah, go on.
Sometimes I'm sitting on the couch and the children are going crazy, and my wife is sitting there, and we're all in the room, and I'm just over here in the corner, and she sees me smiling to myself, and I'm looking at my phone or whatever, and she's like, "Go talk to Dada." He's like, "Look at the way he's smiling. He's thinking about something that he said." He's like, "Dada said something clever. Ask him what it was."
Ah,
He's reading his own writing for the 5th time and smiling
Yeah.
at how clever it is. So my wife knows me. I do love.
well, that's
myself.
nice that she really respects you in that way. Like, it sounds like she really respects you. Or maybe
She loves me.
Yeah, good.
It's a problem. I said you have to love me less and respect me more.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Interesting. We would
rather
maybe
be
we'll
loved.
come-
If love and what's the word that Machiavelli said? If love and he said,
Something
what's the
like-
quote?
He
If love and
liked
hate
people
cannot
to.
coexist. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I know Machiavellian. I think liked the idea
I'm a
that
bit of
people
a
should fear you
Machiavellian.
more than
That's
more
what it
than they
is.
should love you.
Yeah, if love and fear cannot coexist, I'd rather be feared than loved. It's safer.
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
Maybe we need. I mean, I don't
God thinks
really.
that.
I think
I mean, you'd
women
let it be
should.
loved, but
Women
that's why
should
Christians are-
respect that we do need to bring back respect for men out of the service they do for women, because we sacrifice a lot for women.
That's what I was telling
But
you.
yeah, that's another. We need to bring that back again at some point. The masculinity thing.
She's like,
but
why
to
aren't you
s-
helping me packing? I said, because I'm off fighting the wolves every night, trying to keep them off our
Yeah,
back.
and I
until we establish a
often
single.
have to explain that. Like, why am I not cooking? Because I'm doing everything else.
Exactly. Yeah, when
Yeah.
they don't see it, that's part of the problem.
And and we as
They
the
can't,
sort
because
of
the economy. We go out and we do weird things. They don't see it. They don't understand it. We bring back money. They're like,
I mean,
"Hey,
I
this
work
guy-"
from home.
If I brought
but yeah,
back a bleeding haunch of a sow, of a pig, if I brought back a fresh ham and slapped it on the table, if she saw me stabbing this thing in the head,
But she sees you working hard, being tired, whatever. That should be enough.
She sees this, and she's like, "That doesn't look like a man." It's true.
Yeah, I agree a little bit. I do agree that a man needs to be in touch with the ground because it makes them. But a man, if you're working hard, you're working hard. Also, that's very important. People should value that and respect that. But let me wrap this thing. Yeah, and as a man, we're leaders. As a man, we're leaders, and we have to remind our families, which include our wives, like, this is important. This is why we're, you should respect us, not for even our sake, for the family's sake, for the cohesiveness of the family. You have to respect the leader, for example, those kind of things. So I totally appreciate that. And we should bring that up properly in another topic. But to try to wrap things up, and then I'm happy for you to summarize as well. We agree on a lot of things. We do believe God is one. Yeah. We might disagree on like the whole Trinity thing, quite frankly.
Yeah, obviously. We think 3 in 1. And
yeah, you think
that's very confusing. Who knows what that means? I mean,
very complicated.
Most of the Christians have gone to hell because of that thing. That's most of the heresies. That's some of the. It's because people don't understand what 3 in 1 means.
So people could accidentally be idolatrous if they don't understand the Trinity properly. Is that what you're saying?
I think that.
Is that why what you just said? A lot of Christians have gone to hell. What did you mean by that? Is that because
they the ones who've gone to hell? It's because they rejected Jesus Christ's divinity. That's usually what it is.
Oh, okay.
So, but it is possible, yeah, that you could be an idolater. I think that it's a lot less likely. I think because because the Trinity is so difficult to understand, God has a lot of grace for it. He forgives the lack of understanding of it. Okay. And I think that so you don't really have to understand it.
So just to break it down, just entirely focusing on this one verse, I guess.
It's usually very intelligent people that go to hell for that issue. Very intelligent people. They're the ones that go to hell because they think they know more than God.
So just to break it down, so the whole point of this discussion is that actually we should focus on what we agree on.
And we should. That God is one.
God is one.
God is one.
And that's really important.
And when we say that, so I think we need to talk about specifics. I think that that's how Christians and Muslims will get along. And also, all of the division in Christianity is because of people aren't willing to get into specifics. So I think like when we talk about the events of Jesus Christ's life, where we differ, it's not as scary. When people are like, well, Allah or God are two different gods, that's not true.
That's not true. We believe in one God. Yeah.
Well, and we mean the supreme. We mean the highest God. We mean the Most High, because the Bible calls angels and kings gods. It says these are gods. So because they have authority, that's what El means. And so, well, God has the highest authority, has all the authority. He gave the authority. That's why it says he's the God of.
So that's another thing we agree on. So we could many of us can agree.
What do you actually mean when you say things?
Yeah. So we can agree on, like, if a Muslim says Allahu Akbar, which means God is the greatest, it's not like some foreign thing that is made out to be on
it's not
Western TVs.
And that's why that's why Christians hate Muslims, is because of the marketing. So they're shown these disturbing images of people being murdered for no reason. And then they hear a foreign tongue and they see an alien person, and the next thing you know, somebody basically says God is the highest and they're the enemy of all Christianity. That's insane. Well, that's from marketing. Yeah. That's from the television screen. That's from illusions pitting us against each other. Exactly. I mean, don't kill me. I mean, Christians have been killed by Muslims.
Yeah, and vice versa, and not. Neither. They're not good. They're not good things. Yeah.
But as E. Michael Jones says, now the orcs are in the gate, and Tolkien had some problems with. He didn't understand like he should have, and England where Tolkien was from, trying to be a Catholic, has done way worse things for Christianity and to Christianity than Islam ever had. Islam has been very helpful to Christianity. In fact, Islam's been one of the best things that ever happened to Christianity. Without Islam, I mean, the reason Islam took over Spain and got into France was because the Christians were so disunified and divided. So Islam is like a mirror to Christianity. It shows Christians who they are and why and how.
Who
And
they
so that's
should
why-
be, right? Like
Yeah,
in terms of
exactly.
like praying regularly, submitting completely to God, how to fast, maybe like bringing Lent back to what it used to be, maybe wearing the hijab, covering their hair, so many things. So
And the
it's a
scary
really,
thing about Islam
yeah.
is that it's foreign. And so if you know, if you actually know where we disagree, then it's
I mean,
very
it's
simple.
foreign only in
Jesus
the
Christ
sense that
is
it's,
God. You don't
Yeah,
think he
yeah.
is. This is confusing. Fine.
it's
Here we are.
only as foreign as Jesus is foreign. Do you know what I mean? Because he's from the Middle
Correct.
East.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So-
maybe a little bit more than that, but
Yeah,
you know.
but it's kind of funny to say it that way.
Sure.
So yeah, and then and you generally you don't want to associate any partners with God. You like that's the intention, right? Like the whole Trinity thing is a confusing thing, but the whole idea is Trinity is supposed to be one God, so you don't really associate any partners with God.
Right, correct. So yeah, so
Yeah.
that is so the idea that Jesus Christ is a different God from the one God would be a problem. I mean, technically speaking, everything Jesus Christ did, the whole Trinity did. So it's not just, even though it's important that he's God the Son, there's a reality there where you can't separate the Trinity into parts because it's one. It's one thing. It's three.
Sure.
It's three different images. It's three different understandings. It's three different hypostases, which means under stasis standing. It's three understandings of one thing.
Yeah.
One thing.
I'm
And let's go.
purposely not trying to turn it into debate, but one of the purposes of this discussion was to possibly prepare you for a debate you're going to have with another Muslim.
Yeah, about
And I mean, there are
Thank
kind
you.
of obvious things that I'm not bringing up, like Jesus prayed to God and Jesus said, like, whatever your will, I will do. So it doesn't seem like they're one person.
right.
Maybe
well,
you could
so
quickly
if you,
comment on
if
that,
you
and
go-
then we'll try to wind up. Then
Yeah,
after
if
that.
you go
Because it
into
could
the
go on
yeah,
forever.
I know
Yeah.
I'm really hurting.
Yeah.
you for
No,
when
you're
you
not.
I closed the thing, but I had the book Mark 12 open, and I read some more about that just to get the context. But he goes on, yeah. So when Jesus Christ prays to God, and when he does some of these things, he talks to God in the same way in the Old Testament. You have God talking to himself. So in the Old Testament, there are several instances where God says, "Let us go do this. What do you think about this?" And he's talking to himself. Sometimes he's talking to angels, but other times he's talking to himself. And that's the case. If God was a man, he would pray to himself. If he was a man, he would love himself more than anything, because that's perfect. And that's what you see Jesus Christ doing. That's what you see him doing. And
you know,
everything
there are,
else
like-
kind of comes from instruction. So he instructs us because he understands, obviously, that we are going to follow his example. So he makes some distinctions in there, and he introduces the Trinity. He makes some distinctions in there so that we can follow him. And so that's why he uses Father and things like this to help us understand.
Okay.
You know,
Interesting. I mean, there are passages of
He
the
says-
Bible that
he
seem
says,
to
"The
contradict
Father,
that
help us
idea.
be one as you are.
Yeah.
Help us be one, or let them." In the Last Supper, he says, "I pray that they are one, like me and you are one. Everything you do, I do." He's showing how this works. You know what I mean? So that'd be my take on that, which is confusing. Of course, it's confusing. You're talking about the highest thing. It's out of reach for our intellects. We can approach it.
I mean, I'm trying. I didn't. I'm kind of half like not responding because I don't want to make it a debate, but at the same time, the purpose of the discussion was to prepare you what a Muslim would say in response to that, because you said it's kind of like they're the same will, but Jesus literally said his will is different to God's will.
He has two
Like,
wills. That's true.
okay, cool. So I'll leave it at that because I mean, maybe for the people who don't know what we're talking about, we'll quickly show you a quick reference. What was it saying? And Jesus said, and he was saying, Abba, Father, all things are possible to you. Take away this cup from me. Basically, he didn't want to go on the cross, but not that I will, but you will.
Mhm.
So like the different wills. So anyway, it's
Two
complicated.
wills.
Let's
That's true.
call it complicated. Whatever.
Yeah, that would
But,
be technically complicated because
yeah.
complexity means parts. There are more than one
Oh.
part, and God is perfectly simple. So God has no parts, but Jesus Christ, who is the man, so he added humanity to himself. The humanity does have parts.
Cool.
Does have
And
parts.
I'm just going to make one question, because we've done the summary anyway. In many ways, it's like we both believe in the same God. We believe in many of the same things about how to behave as believers, covering our hair and things like that. And that you do more than most other. You are closer to Muslim behavior, I would say, than a lot of other forms of Christianity. Let's just call that. Like, for example, you ask your
Yeah,
wife to cover your hair.
Catholics are extremely close to Muslims.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the last question, an obvious question that comes to
The
mind.
split between Catholics and Muslims happened before the split between Catholics and Orthodox Christians. The Catholics and Muslims is 500 AD. Orthodox, the East-West split is 1000 AD. And in some ways, Catholics are closer. Now, there's some unique history there.
You're closer to the origins of Christianity, I suppose.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
like that. I like the unity. I mean, or like of the Pope, because we have that in our Caliph system. So there's a lot of similarities in that sense as well. But the last question, and that might come up, I guess, and like an obvious basic one, is like, if the idea of Trinity is so important, why wasn't it really obviously clearly put in the Old Testament? Was the Trinity? I mean, and maybe that presupposes something, which is, was there always a Trinity for all time, from the beginning of time? Was there always a Jesus part of the Trinity in the beginning of time? Okay. And was that made clear in the Bible, in the Old Testament?
No.
Okay.
It's there, but it's not clear. And for the same reason, so the Bible's not the foundation of Christianity. That's the biggest thing people don't understand.
Okay.
The Bible is a record. It's historical documents. It's a record of events. It's inerrant, but it is not the source of Christian teaching. The source of Christian teaching is Jesus Christ himself. As St. John says, everything he did and everything he said, there aren't enough books in the world to record it. And so Jesus Christ, for 3 years, and before that too, he taught other people, but he taught in the temple when he was 13. But for 3 years, he lived with the apostles. And then when he died, was resurrected and ascended, and at Pentecost, he gave the apostles power through the Holy Ghost, which is, by the way, the will. So the Trinity, the will of the Trinity is the Holy Ghost. The will of Jesus Christ was in his soul that was created. And so he had both of those. He had the Holy Ghost and he had his own will. So the source of Christianity is the teachings of the apostles. Teachings of the apostles, which were oral and in their souls. It was in their minds, and they remembered things. And as they governed the church, they would teach things. And some of those things are recorded. And that's why Paul has epistles. So that's a small part of the teachings of Christ.
Okay, cool.
That have been passed down. That's apostolic tradition. Okay. That's where Christianity comes from, not from the Bible. Now, as far as the Trinity not being clearly indicated in the Bible, there are some things there where the Bible doesn't contradict the Trinity, but it's compared to the elements. So in Genesis, there's a record of earth and there's a record of water. There's no record of fire and there's no record of air. And the reason is because Moses was teaching the Israelites who had a real problem of real problem with idolatry, where they could not figure out who God was. They got him confused with a cow. And so air and fire are more spiritual elements than water and earth is, because they're invisible, or they have this strange visibility that's not the same. And so Moses doesn't get into it, just like he doesn't talk about the fact that there are angels. So in the Old Testament, angels are very sparse. It's hard to find them because the people being taught with the Old Testament couldn't handle it. They would fall into idolatry. So yeah, the Trinity, you are right that it is a problem. If you don't understand the Trinity, you would be an idolater. But because things have changed over time, and we are much more intellectual now, and we have a different way of understanding the world. A materialist is much more, he understands spirits. Sorry.
Yeah, I think your connection just died for a second. It's cool. So
God was cutting me off. I'm talking too much.
Maybe you never know. But okay, I suppose that could be a good way to wrap things up, because I was thinking on the end of that verse the end of that.
You'll see this and you'll prepare.
I don't know. Maybe he'll watch it. Hopefully, you can ask him to watch it. Who knows? But I'm just saying some standard things that Muslims would say anyway. It's nothing particularly new. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a fruitful discussion with your other friend, the Muslim friend that you're going to debate with. But yeah, the whole, there's all these little things, like maybe God wants you to pause talking for whatever reason. We're all fallible. Maybe God wants me to stop talking. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. And the end of that verse, that was kind of a discussion between Muslims and Christians in that particular verse, introducing or not encouraging or Christians to be clear on the fact that they have one God. At the end of it, it was like, at the end of the day, whatever happens, the Muslims are told we have to submit to God and we've done our duty, sort of thing. And the whole thing, like, maybe God cut you off, who knows, by cutting the internet for a millisecond, right? And we're happy to submit to God. That's it. So is that how you feel? You're happy to submit to God, whatever God's will is?
As far as like Islam and Muslim means somebody who submits to God, one God, yes, that's what Christians should be doing. Should be submitting to God. Basic.
And briefly, what's the benefit of submitting to God?
Well, one of the examples of submitting to God is submitting to Islam. We can't reject the fact that there are human beings whose salvation is at stake in huge numbers for 1,500 years that embrace Islam. We have to submit to that. That is something God has allowed for very good reasons. And we can't just pretend like it's just going to go away. No, not from doing what we've been doing for 1,500 years. Crusades, if he wanted Christians to stamp out Muslims, he would have let us win more than one crusade. We only won one crusade. And,
God could make.
Well, no, sorry, we did. Pardon me. We did win the fourth crusade.
I don't know anything about that.
The fourth crusade. No, you'll like this. So the fourth crusade.
Okay, go on then.
The fourth crusade was against Greece. It was against the Orthodox Christians, and they are very upset that the French came and conquered Constantinople.
But so there were the Crusades against other Crusaders, were there?
So there's a reason
other Christians.
For that. It's complex. It has to do with debt and all kinds of things. But they asked. So the Emperor of Constantinople came to France and Italy and said, "Please give us Constantinople back." He wanted to replace somebody had usurped his throne. So he invited the Crusaders and said, if you conquer Constantinople, I'll support you and send you off to Egypt, or actually I think it was Syria that they were trying to take. So they came to Constantinople. They won. They miraculously defeated the Greeks, and then the Greeks betrayed them. The emperor takes the throne and doesn't give them what he promised them. He promised the unity of the East and the West. He said Orthodox Christianity is going to go away and it will all be universal again. He promised that. And he went back on his word. And then the French said, okay. And they were so bad. Then he got his eyes gouged out. That's how God repaid him.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Lost his throne
All right.
again. And the
Yeah.
French said, these people are crazy. They can't govern anything. And so then they actually governed, and they established the Latin Empire in the East. And then the Greeks are so angry about it that they invite pagans. And then the pagans from like Russia, like Eastern Europe, the pagans come and just waylace to all the Greeks. So
Sure.
we won that one. And we
Great.
won the First Crusade against
Great.
Muslims.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, thank you so much for your time, and I hope we
I'm
can
sorry.
continue.
They say we raped nuns on altars. I don't think
That's
I think
terrible.
that's
Oh.
propaganda. I think that's
Okay.
BS.
Hopefully
There's no
not.
way. I
Hopefully
I
not.
don't believe that. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's just propaganda.
But yeah, so I hope that we can continue. I think there were many great things
Greeks
that
are
we
liars.
discussed here that we
St.
agreed
Paul
on.
says that. They're liars. It says Cretans. That's why we have the word Cretans. Cretans are nasty brutes. He's a racist. They hate it.
Okay, sure.
But they should be saved.
Anyway.
They should go to heaven. But they're
So
liars.
appreciate your time. Must be 2:30 where you are. You might want to go. Are you going to go to sleep after this?
You got me so excited. Now I don't know if I can. I was pretty groggy.
I'm glad you
I'm gonna
enjoyed
sit
it
here-
so much.
I'm gonna sit here listening to it and smiling about how clever. That's what I'm gonna do. God bless you. Thank you. This
Yeah.
is what I needed. I'm about to go.
Good. Oh, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased that you were so tired
Would you
and
pray
everything's
for me?
unplanned.
You see, I'm having a hard time. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah,
getting
of
out
course. It's a beautiful
Texas
thing. We
trying
should
to
be
kill me.
praying for each other like one people, one humanity. So of course, and you're my brother in humanity. We in Islam we call everybody children of Adam. So we're all children of
Yeah,
Adam, whichever
I'm writing a
whatever our
book.
faith.
I'm writing a novel about, and a big part of this novel is artificial intelligence and talking about the soul and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
one of the terms I use to distinguish between people, humans, and robots, because the robots look like people, it's got things. They call them sons of Adam.
Oh, beautiful. Cool.
Yeah, I
Cool.
like the term.
So we have so much in common. It's beautiful.
We're
Uh,
all destined for heaven. All Muslims.
I agree with that actually.
God
Yeah.
destines us for heaven.
Some
Now,
people,
most
some
of
Muslims
us are
say
going to
that.
go to hell. Most of us will go to hell. But
Oh,
we're-
okay. I have a different understanding of that. So my understanding in the Quran, and this is a little bit different to
God never wanted
a
us
lot
to
of
go
other
there.
Muslims. We believe like hell is just a rehabilitation center, but a very long process. But everybody
Lot-
eventually leaves that rehabilitation and gets to heaven, not
A lot of Christians
directly.
A lot
Yeah.
of Christians believe that. Hindus
Yeah.
believe that.
Yeah.
In fact, that's a pretty universal belief, actually. Catholics believe that. We call it purgatory.
Cool. And which
but-
makes sense, right? Like you believe God is. Since
But
we're
there
talking
is
about God-
there is also an eternal hell that you can go to.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
and they're in the same
But-
place. They're in the same
wow.
place. They're both
But
on
I would say just. Oh, I shouldn't bring up another topic. We'll bring it up another time, maybe.
Sorry.
Heaven and
Yeah,
hell.
God bless you. Get some
It's
sleep.
another very interesting discussion. But
We
always
think
enjoy.
Jesus Christ went to hell and pulled out the people. So we think before Jesus Christ came, everybody was in hell, and then Jesus Christ, it's called the harrowing of hell. He conquered hell and pulled out all of his people from hell and brought them to heaven. He opened the
Okay.
doors of heaven, called the harrowing of hell. And he was in not purgatory, but now there's purgatory, which you're talking about rehabilitation site. But there was this place, the cave, the bosom of Abraham, where the holy people were, and he got them out of there and saved them.
Nice.
That's our king.
Okay.
Conquered hell. It's like
Cool,
Greece.
cool.
We conquered Greece. He conquered hell.
All right. All right.
God bless you, sir.
God bless you
From the
too.
bottom of my
I
heart,
will
I
be praying
love
for
you. Pray
you.
for me. It's
I
hard
love
to
you
do all
too.
this. I want to go to heaven. I'm tired of this place.
Peace be upon you, as Jesus would have said.
You
it.
too.
All right. Take care.
Blessed be the
Until next time.
peacemakers. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.